Welcome to Consider This, where we examine themes that determine how healthy we are from a holistic perspective. The issues are submitted for your consideration and are designed to encourage maturity in all aspects of life. Your topic guide for this session is Hi, I'm Rob Cook, and I'm your topic guide for this issue of anger, the unwanted emotion. To be angry is easy, but to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, the right time, for the right reason, and in the right way, that's altogether more difficult. I think Aristotle had it mostly right. It's probably within everybody's power to exhibit a healthy expression of anger versus an unhealthy expression of anger. The key is to recognize and express it appropriately before our anger takes on a life of its own. The Apostle Paul in Ephesians 4, verses 26 and 27 wrote, "Be angry and do not sin. Don't let the sun go down on your anger, and give no opportunity for the devil." Often, what we perceive as making us angry is seldom the cause. That's why anger is sometimes referred to as a secondary emotion. And it's a lot like a river. Just like a river, anger can move slow or fast. Just like a river, anger is most destructive when it becomes a fast-moving emotion that floods us. Rivers do most of their damage during the flood stage. Rivers have tributaries, so too does anger. Just as the tributaries feed the river, the tributaries of anger can feed our rage. And I think there are four primary tributaries to anger: the need for control, fear, pain, and injustice. These four typically feed our expressions of anger. Let's consider each one. The tributary of control. When we have a sense of helplessness or an illusion of control to the things we really can't control, that typically results in excessive or unhealthy anger. Illusionary control is believing that we have control over another person or many of life's circumstances. Here's the thing. Studies show that controlling anger contributes to poor health physically, emotionally, and relationally. And consider this, the only real control that we have is control over ourselves, how we act, think, and feel. The goal here is to possess an accurate assessment about what we can and cannot control in life, which will result in an appropriate expression of control versus an inappropriate expression of rage. Fear is a tributary of anger. An important distinction needs to be made between the spirit of fear and the emotion of fear. The spirit of fear is a dominant, persistent, destructive emotional pattern in an individual's life. The emotion of fear is more temporary and specific, and is necessary for responding to the threats or preventing us from making poor decisions, like putting our hand into a fire or touching a hot stove. The tributary of pain. Many of us make pain the enemy. Pain is not the enemy. It's a signal that something needs our attention. And when we deal with the issue that needs our attention, the pain doesn't magically go away. There's still pain, but it shifts from a warning pain to a healing pain. That's why I don't think pain is the enemy. It warns us when something is wrong, and after the issue is addressed, it informs us that we're healing. Most medical professionals understand that it takes pain to cure pain. An example, I break my arm. There's pain. Because of the pain, I go to the doctor. She fixes my arm and then tells me that the pain will eventually subside. Now it's a healing pain. Pain is not the enemy. Whether the pain is originating from physical, emotional, relational, or spiritual issues, remember that pain starts out as a warning. After it's treated, it's a signal of healing. Injustice is a tributary to anger. Have you ever met anybody who takes most things personally? They perceive that everybody wrongs them in some way. Injustice can be real or perceived, so it's important to have an accurate assessment about the injustice. Some individuals take things way too personally, so they perceive injustice frequently. That to me is an example of a perceived injustice. A real injustice would be something like an assault or being unfairly accused, abused, or neglected. You know, as followers of the Lord, we're created in His image. And at least in part, what that means is we are to be angry at, be against, be sensitive to, and help those who are treated unjustly. So, we've briefly talked about the causes of anger: control, fear, pain, and injustice. Now, I would like to turn our attention to healthy versus unhealthy expressions of anger. This is not an all-inclusive list, and I'm sure you can think of other distinctions between healthy and unhealthy anger. But as you can see, healthy anger is limited in terms of scope and time. It's proportionate to the occasion. It's not explosive. It's not accusatory, and is owned by the one who is angry. Unhealthy anger is unlimited in terms of scope and time. It's not proportionate to the occasion. It is explosive. It's often accusatory, and is not owned by the one who is angry. Mark Twain sums up the trademark of healthy anger when he writes, "Anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured." If your anger is healthy, then it's a good idea just to be good and angry. However, if you're dealing with unhealthy anger, you may want to consider some of these ideas. When you start feeling angry, try deep breathing. Inhale through your nose, hold it for a moment, and exhale through your mouth. And do that 5, 6, 7 times. Learn how to appropriately express anger. Rage and outbursts are stressful on your nervous and cardiovascular systems. It's a little bit like a steam engine. If the engine doesn't release the steam, there's an explosion, and engineers are possibly killed. Likewise, when the steam engine releases the steam, 2 things happen. 1, the explosion is prevented, and 2, the engine runs more efficiently. What about walking in their shoes? Try different perspectives on for size. Think about what you're angry at from different perspectives. And then analyze your expectations. Are they unrealistic or idealistic? Angry people are not always wise. Jane Austen wrote in Pride and Prejudice. And then Jay Freeman wrote about emotional intelligence, that emotional intelligence is a way of recognizing, understanding, and choosing how we think, feel, and act. It shapes our interactions with others and our understanding of ourselves. It defines how and what we learn. It allows us to set priorities. It determines the majority of our daily actions. Research suggests it is responsible for as much as 80% of the success in our lives. So if you don't have emotional intelligence, begin to develop it, and then seek help. If you're struggling with this and you've been working at it for 3 to 6 months, or you've been raging much longer than that, don't wait the 3 to 6 months. But if you're trying to resolve something, give yourself some 3 to 6 month time window. Thank you for watching. And remember, if you're chronically angry, you're probably dealing with the mismanagement of control, fear, pain, or injustice. See, the more unhealthy your anger or rage is, the less capable you are of love and kindness in the relationships that are important to you. So identify what is making you angry and address it in healthy ways. Thank you for considering this emotion of anger with me. Hopefully, we didn't waste your time considering this topic of anger, and that the information you received will be useful in facilitating health and maturity in your own life and relationships. Thanks again for your time and consideration. Take care.